So now that we've gone through a few examples of the basic exercise, let's focus on some of the more advanced problems here. And these are going to be slightly more challenging, but will still be fairly similar. So let me just rewrite it. We have 12 times the square root of x divided by 4 over x to the third power. And with these, we're going to have some number term out front. Notice the final form here, k times x to the n. So we have to figure out what our constant in front of the variable expression is. And then we also have to simplify the variable expression. So with these problems, you can treat the numbers and the variables separately. For instance, we can do 12 divided by 4, and that is just 3. So we have 3 times the square root of x over, x cubed. We were able to cancel out that 4. And from here, we've already figured out what k is. That's just 3. And we just need to simplify the variable terms. Now, if one of your variable terms is written with a radical, it would be simplest to replace that with a fractional exponent or a rational exponent. So remember that when you have the square root of a number, we could, in some sense, put a 2 here for what root we're taking. But we can just rewrite this with x raised to the 1 over 2 power, where the root we're taking is the denominator of this exponential expression here. So for instance, if we're taking the fifth root of x, this would be x to the 1/5 power. Or sometimes you might end up with more complicated expressions. Let's say we have the seventh root of x squared. So whatever power you're raising it to would still be the numerator of your exponent here. And the root you're taking, like I mentioned, is the denominator. So x to the 2/7 is equivalent to the seventh root of x squared. Or you could write it the other way. It's the seventh root of x, and you raise everything to the second power. So returning to our problem, we just need to replace this radical with a rational exponent. So this is 3 times x to the 1/2 power, all divided by x cubed. And notice when we focus on just our exponential expressions here, that we have a quotient where the base is the same, and we can just subtract the exponents. Since if you have a x to the a over x to the b, we just have x to the a minus b. And rewriting, we have 3 times x to the 1/2. That's our top exponent, and we'll subtract this bottom exponent. So we'll subtract 3 from that. And we can rewrite that with a common denominator, or a denominator of 2. So we'll multiply top and bottom by 2, and we can rewrite 3 as 6/2. So now simplifying everything, this would be 3 times x to the 1 minus 6 is -5. The denominator stays the same, so you get minus 5/2. And that's the form they're looking for. They don't want it in radical form, though it is always good practice to be able to rewrite it using the radicals rather than the fractional exponents.